Committee of the whole.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Lundin, second by Councilmember Peterson to go back into committee of the whole. All in favor, say aye.
I do
Any
want to put on
opposed?
caution.
Can we start the recording, start Facebook Live?
Yeah.
I don't think.
How long do you guys want to be here?
10 o'clock.
Okay, then,
So,
not, Facebook Live, probably not.
I'll make it quick, it's okay.
but
So-
then we want to discuss that E5 for those two because they've been here waiting. Go ahead.
All right, so when I got on the board, they wanted to change the joint powers
Can you talk
agreement
to the microphone? Or-
Microphone.
and we knew there'd be a lot of changes to be made because of the firehouse that we sold to the district. Anyway, so at the last meeting I was at, we had talked to the chief about going back to about the fire district's attorney and rewriting the agreement and flipping amendment 1, 2, and 3 all into one joint powers agreement. Nothing else was discussed about other things that were thrown in. So here's the few things that I'm gonna guess the fire chief threw in. So the new agreement has the fire chief as CEO and fire marshal.
As COO?
CEO. So he would be the CEO and the fire marshal. That centralizes leadership, quicker decision-making, fire code enforcement, authority consolidated. The cons to it is the chief gains regulatory power over the city and the town buildings. So he could come in here and say, we need a sprinkler system. I mean, in theory, not that it would happen, but I mean, he would have control over even city buildings. I'm gonna cut to the chase. I'm not even gonna go pro cons. I'm not willing to do this right now as a council member or even representing the city unless you guys convince me different. I think right now there's a problem with leadership right now that needs to be resolved, and that hasn't been resolved yet. So in my opinion, I don't think we should be giving the fire chief any more power until that problem is ironed out and has a solution to it, and it doesn't yet. So at this time, I would be against that. The other thing is contracting and financial controls. There's a change on that. I'm great about having 2 signatures instead of 1 on checks. But at the same time, then now the fire chief has authority to sign contracts without board if under a certain threshold. So, and I don't know what that threshold is. I think it is low, but I'll find out more tomorrow night. The other thing that you guys are aware of is collection and ordinance authority. The board will not budge on coming up with a fee schedule. I've come up with another solution just in the last few days that might work, that the whole board might be on board with, and that is rewriting that instead of having a fee schedule or anything, just make sure it's for extraordinary circumstances, and that if the chief determines it's an extraordinary circumstance, has to come back to board for approval to charge for that fire. That keeps it from getting out of control in the future, where we start charging residents and businesses for small fires, or people that, I'd love to know this figure, but let's say people that accidentally start a fire. I have a feeling most fires are accidental. I'm sure a majority are. People are home and they forget to turn off a stove, whatever the scenario may be. But, you know, there's lots of problems with charging with fires, and I'll give a great example. Let's just say there is a fee charge if they have to come out to your house. If that scenario happens, a lot of people are gonna take their time and not call the fire department right away. They're gonna try to put that fire out themselves. And that 5, 6, 7 minutes that they wait to make that call can make that fire even worse. And then you have a scenario where the fire department would end up spending more time at that fire. I'm just gonna make a quick point here. So if that happened twice a year and over X amount of years, you're probably looking at the same amount of time that they're saying they have to fight a bigger fire. So their excuse is they need to charge in case the best scenario.
Catastrophic events.
Catastrophic, like the tire plant. Now, that makes sense. That could be a 3 or 4 day fire. They used a trail derailment in town. Well, I would have to think FEMA would be covering that, federal, state resources. I can't think of a lot of scenarios where that the fire district myself would really be at a firefighting situation for a long time. There was a grass fire that they did some mutual aid on, and I think it was in Oxford Township, and they wanted to charge that person, but it opened up, it's hard to tax taxpayers when that is one service they should.
I want to clarify something with you on that.
Huh?
I want to clarify something with you on that.
Sure.
They never charged for a fire unless it was over 8 hours.
Over 8
Right.
hours.
I know
Okay,
that.
so
Back in the old days.
it was even long before then. So Jeff, you remember when that kennel fire was?
Yeah, that's what blew this whole thing up.
That's what blew this whole thing up.
Right.
So a gentleman, I'm not going to mention names, Oxford,
I
Oxford,
know, I'm
Oxford,
familiar with them.
okay? He argued that it should have been a 10-hour charge instead of 8. It cost you, for a fire way out there, it cost you. Because yes,
no.
because they could not collect for that fire. And they paid to have, was it Dirtworks? Dirtworks had to come out with their truck and backhoe. They paid that bill. They ate it, and in turn, it went back to you as a taxpayer, even though you don't live there. So, part of the solution was, he said 10 hours. Okay, we'll go to 10 hours for you. Nope, he dug his heels in. That is why it got dropped down to 0 charges. You are responsible, you as a city of Iceni resident are responsible for somebody in Oxford, Bradford, Spencer Brook. If they have a fire that endures any length of time over 8 hours, you're responsible for paying that bill.
And they're responsible for any fires that happen more than
But
8 hours in
anytime-
the city of Iceni. I mean, it's a-
But the whole fact of that was to collect that money to pay off that other thing. These guys go out there and they were there forever. And it comes down to it, the guy that owned the property was underinsured, so he couldn't pay for it. That's not my fault. That's not your fault. That's not Nick's fault. It's not Luke's fault. It's not his fault. It's not anybody in this building's fault. If you're underinsured, that is not my problem. You need to suck it up and pay your bill. And he didn't want to do it, and he had a board member
Okay.
fight.
So-
So
I
that's
agree.
why I'm saying
So where
that.
the fault lied and why they want power of authority or ordinance is because
I just,
they couldn't go after the insurance company, but he still owned the property, so they wanted to have the authority to be able to basically tax him or go after him through the county to be able to recruit that money on his property taxes probably.
I'm gonna add something here. So I think at the end of the day, I think the specifics need to be more specific for
Right.
us to consider something like that. They want to pass this without laying out any guidelines, and last
Right.
time I was there, I point blank said, I'm never gonna vote for something that they don't have specifics for. So if they
No.
come up with specifics that make sense, I think that's when we have this conversation. I don't think it's right now. I think you leave that to them, and that's their job, and they come back. If they don't come back with anything that's any sort of numbers, I'm not gonna vote to approve it. I don't know how you guys feel, but, so that's,
I won't.
I think charging for the calls that are absorbent and is probably a good idea to have if they need it in a worst-case situation. But I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna come up with, and that's
I
where that
cannot-
goes.
I cannot charge fees to a taxpayer. How am I
Okay.
gonna answer to them? And like I said, I can see too many scenarios where the homeowner or the property owner will not call the fire district because they have no idea, because there's no transparency. We can all agree there. They have zero transparency on the
100%.
fire board. Nobody, they might post the board on the fees on the fire district website, maybe, if we're lucky. And the problem is that person who's gotta make that phone call has no idea how much it's gonna cost them, and I don't wanna put them in that position. And they
Nobody's-
may
But
not call.
99% of the calls, it's
Nobody's
not gonna be
gonna
over
be
8 hours.
considering that if their house is on fire.
Right.
Guaranteed.
If your house is, yeah.
You're so worried about your stuff, your valuables burning up.
Yep.
You're not gonna think about the dollar amount.
You're not gonna even wait an extra 5 minutes or 4 minutes to
I-
see if you can put it out before it gets too big.
My house almost lit on fire
Nope.
the other week because my oven, the gas regulator.
They're
failed.
more mad
And I
that
was-
they're more mad that you're not there instantly. I can't tell you how many times I've showed up to a structure fire and just been yelled at because we weren't doing it fast enough.
I agree with that.
So they're not thinking about dollar amount. They're just worried that their stuff is not being saved instantly.
And this, and
What
that's,
I've heard from certain people,
and that's
so-
only for fires that last over whatever threshold they set, 8 or 10 hours. You're very, Jeff, have you ever been on a residential structure fire that's over 8 hours? Highly doubt it. Unless
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something,
Inside the
horrible
city,
inside.
inside the city, no. Once you get into the townships
You don't know what
where
they have.
the water supply is, it takes longer and they don't, some of those houses aren't called on right away, those are complete losses. So yeah, you're pushing this, probably 6+ hours.
So it's actually
It really
better-
depends on how big the house is.
It's actually better for us.
That's what I was just gonna say, so.
It's better for
yeah.
us. We're less likely to have those here, so our residents won't be faced with that. The people that have the fires will be. So you are answering to Isani residents.
So.
Because
that's-
right now, Isani residents would be paying for a fire like that way outside of town.
I was going the same place you were with it, so that actually it's to our advantage and the township's disadvantage,
Correct.
in theory, if,
But the
if they
problem
went
was,
that way.
everybody except for one township, one person,
Yep.
except one person was against it. And that's all it took.
Okay,
So I just want you to understand that. I don't care, George, you think what you want to think. I'm pissed off that I had to pay for that shit, and I had nothing to do with it.
okay.
All right, can we go back to the JPA?
Yep,
That's-
I'm gonna move on to the next one. So, the retirement system, brand new. I don't remember this ever being talked about. All of a sudden just pops up on the new agreement. They wanna switch, if I'm reading this right, they go with the Firefighters Relief Association for their para. If I'm reading it right, they want to go to the state. And there's pros with that. The state's more consistent. You know, the ups and downs are less. I can read what I have. I have predictable pre-firefighter costs, state-managed, less risk of underfunded or local pensions, benefits portable, statewide for volunteers, cons, locked into a you're locked into the same level of payments, no flexibility, could cost more long-term if the current relief association is healthy. And I don't know that, is that
how-
what this is? That's
How
what
do
we
you
have
guys,
right now.
how do you guys
So,
feel about
I
just
haven't-
having a work session for this JPA? Because I don't think we're gonna get to the crux of this through
Okay,
cow
anyway,
stuff. Does that
I'll
sound
go fast.
unreasonable?
So I haven't even read this because I got it today, from the chief and from him. Okay, so the other thing they want to do is, they want free water from the city. Never discussed, but it was put on this agreement. I think this conversation came up at another time about providing the fire district with free water. I don't remember what that conversation was.
Ms. Wood?
There is an agreement, I believe, it depends, it's not for fire, structure fires, I believe it's for training. Is that what they were talking about? Water for training exercises?
No, I think it's just water in general, whether,
Oh, maybe at the building?
yeah, I think they'll pay for their use, you know, washing hands, the bathroom and all that, but it's for the firefighting aspect of it. So yeah, if it's training or a live fire, because there's a standpipe inside the building that is metered. So on trainings, yeah, you gotta fill up your trucks anyways, but if you charge that, they're just gonna pop a hydrant anywhere in the city that's not metered, and they'll fill up their trucks.
It says, "City shall provide water to the fire district in quantity sufficient for station, firefighting, and training use without charge to the fire district."
Yep.
I think we really need to have a work session on this, because I think we're gonna go back and forth on a lot of these things for hours, or we could. And I feel like they wanna have our opinion and approval on this, and we're not gonna get to it in a Cal meeting. I think we really should have a separate work session for this.
Here's my choice for tomorrow. Support the draft, support draft as is with added input, or not in support. Should I just say not in support at this moment? We need more time.
Man, they wanted us to have an answer, but
That
well,
was,
it's
I
10
can give
o'clock
them
and we're
one
not
of
gonna
three.
have it.
Cannot support this time.
I'm great with not supporting it at this time.
Do you wanna come up with a list of questions that you have? You're
I would-
our representative,
I
so.
would like to point out for the fees and stuff, when they were charging fees, you know, after so many, we would make money going to like the Sartell paper mill. We sent trucks there.
Mutual
and
aid.
we paid for half that ladder truck at that one fire. So you're also creating revenue.
If we don't charge our residents, we can't charge
So you
mutual aid.
can't,
You have to be able to bill.
You have to be able to bill.
Without, with
You're
that
voting
ability to
down.
lose, what was that, there was that scrap yard fire.
Yep,
We
Northern
ended
Valley.
up eating that as taxpayers over in Becker. And we didn't have anything to do with it. They went with mutual aid and they could not bill for it because they have a no-bill policy.
All right.
Mutual aid, that's a big
We're
part of
all-
this.
Are we on the same page at least of not charging for every fire? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been a discussion, charging
well,
for every
it's
fire.
the way they used to do it, every fire.
Every fire.
Right. So
That's
we
never
wanna-
been the discussion that I've heard at the
No,
Any
the
that's
one
not
fire
been
board.
the
insurance
discussion for
covers,
this.
any
Right.
homeowner's insurance covers an amount that would be less than the charge for 8 hours and below 8 hours. So even if they did charge, the homeowner's insurance would cover that charge. It's when it goes beyond that threshold and gets beyond the 8 hours, that then they would have to be able to pursue that.
If I'm not mistaken, they charge $250 for fire call. It'd be an hour, it'd be 7.75 hours. But once it got to 8, then they billed for 8 hours accordingly, which was a state number that was given to them to charge for.
So they charged for every call back
It
in the
was
day?
250, basically it was a $250 call, and it was like that long before I was on the fire department, back in the 70s. It was like that.
Okay. I haven't heard that discussion with
And
this
they-
JPA at all.
This was
so I
like
don't
2
think
months ago, but they
that's-
said like the homeowner's insurance policy, the $250 fee, it covers well beyond that. So a homeowner would never see that, it would get taken care of.
Insurance, yeah.
Insurance
Well, what about-
always paid it.
Yeah, but what about some retired people and they may not even have house insurance? House is
Why
paid
would you
for.
not have
They're
house
risking- I'm
insurance?
just saying.
But
some
that's not
people
my
might
fault
risk it.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's-
know that, but.
Like the one guy
If
was
they-
underinsured.
The reason they're not having it probably is they're on a fixed income and they're just cutting expenses everywhere they can just to survive. So I'm saying there's gotta be some people out there like that, but
Seems very,
I still say leave it up to the board's discretion whether we charge for a fire instead of just, I don't know.
But you gotta get 100% agreeance to any of it. That's the only way the JPA can be changed. If one person says no, it stops, so,
I know.
okay.
Well, I think go back and give them some feedback, and we really gotta, I know they wanna get it done, and I think we really do have to have a work session. So maybe we plan that for sometime, I'm not sure when you guys wanna do it, but maybe Ms. Wood can figure out a date and we can talk, and we can email back and forth or whatever, or do you wanna set it now, or I don't,
Okay. I can reach out to all the council members and find out availability and see when we'd want to have a separate work session for this. As long as we have the 3 days to post notice, we can add it.
Maybe do a Google survey
I would like
with
that.
multiple dates. You ever done one of those?
No. I've had people have me choose them, but I've never done one myself, but.
I think we're gonna need that. Joint powers agreements aren't easy, and this isn't something that we can just,
Right.
we can't whittle away at it now. They wanted the answer this week, and we're not gonna have it, so.
All right, let's go to the public works.
All right, the Public Works, staffing,
Let's hear this one.
Mr. Becker?
Right on,
I'm
bud.
actually going to take this one. But before we start this, there are 3 things, I mean, if we want to do this one, that's fine. It could wait to the next meeting if we'd like. I want to make sure that I mention, because we won't probably get to the stage We did have the stage out here for street dances that we use for street dances out at the community center. I would love if every council member would go take a look at that. We'll leave it there until Thursday. If you could please look at the condition, and then we'll bring it back to another meeting to talk about putting that into the CIP plan, because it's currently not in there. We need to assign a year, and then Josh will be able to talk about the repairs that he makes and such for welding, flooring, et cetera. But we'll leave it there till Thursday, so please go take a look at it during the daylight. And then I want to make sure we get to PD.
We can
It's
skip,
rough.
we can skip to, I think we can skip number 4. I'm more concerned about number 5 and number 10 myself.
Number 10, I don't really have good information.
information?
but
Okay.
I do think we should get to the PD roof.
Yep,
So
all right.
let's do that one now.
Okay. Travis. What a surprise, right?
You had all night to think about what you're gonna say right now.
Well, all I gotta say is there's a roof on the PD and it's flat, and there was a council member up here that said that's not a good idea. Right? But, no, we've had 3 different people look at the roof. So the catalyst of that is well, back up when building was purchased, there was a repair done to the roof supposedly that was then signed off by the building inspector for the city. Ever since we've moved in, we've had leaks. When we moved in, the sheet rock around all the windows, we replaced, that was part of our construction, not knowing why it was wet until it rains, now we know why it's wet. The sheet rock's fallen in, like in my office, fell in on the inside of the window. So there's an issue, so we had some, I think last year you guys, the Public Works flashed or caulked the windows, thinking that may have been it, wasn't that, so this year we had 3 different roofing contractors come out and look at it just to see what's going on. So that's not even in the CIP plan, so let's just say none of that was going on, we gotta have something on that flat roof, which has like a 25-ish year life expectancy, it's 20 years into it. So that's one piece. The other title on here that didn't get in there was the lighting in the garage. How many is that? So there's 144 total lights, just your actual non-LED lights. 93 of them are out, meaning out, they don't work. Public Works has rented lifts and try to put new bulbs in them.
Ballasts are bad.
Yeah, so there's some, Josh can talk about that, he got some options to fix that, but so, yeah, 144 lights and 93 are out, so there's about a third work. So that's another maintenance issue that's.
They had a lot of lights in there to begin with. What were they doing in there before that to need that many lights?
It was originally built for excavating company.
Wow, they way overlit that.
Stockman built that.
Okay.
So I guess we're just bringing it to council, because neither one of those are on CAP plan, so.
Great.
I mean,
All right, in 5 years, you'll get a new roof and some lighting.
yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So,
We fixed some of the sheet rock by drilling 1x6s up in where the sheet rock is to hold it back up till the next rain. But what I've heard, and I'm not a flat roof guy, you know, the membrane comes up and then over the block, and it's not in the 90-degree corner anymore, it's pulling away, so it's probably pulling away from the cores of those blocks, so when we get those heavier rains, it fills up with water and then pours right down the cores of those blocks, and that's why when I sit in my office on a heavy rain, it doesn't just drip, all of a sudden it'll be like the
Little
faucet,
river.
the faucet turns on. Yeah, but,
so have you got a price on re-roofing it?
yeah, we've gotten 2, I don't know if the other one came in yet, but just a range was,
10,000.
You wish.
I'm thinking way over 100 to flat roofs.
yeah, so somewhere over 100 to 218, so that was a big range, so 100 to 218, so.
My initials, I said a quarter at first. 'cause
Yeah.
Those flat roofs are not cheap.
They're not cheap, and they're only 25 years life expectancy, which is off.
Can we just put a
How
tarp
much did
over
we
it?
pay for that building? I forgot.
1.2 or was it 2? I don't remember.
Couldn't even tell you.
All right,
I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. It was a lot. Okay.
And I did ask a real estate agent, like, is that something that would have been caught in an inspection? And he said, boy, that whole retail or that commercial world is dog eat dog world. There's really not many inspections.
Like I said,
and-
it was disclosed that there was a roofing repair.
Sure.
And at
I-
that time, the building inspector for the city signed off and said the repair was done.
And you can't go after him because he's,
Yeah, no, you
done.
can't do that.
Yeah.
There's not repairable again?
Yeah, I was told it'd be a Band-Aid, and if it works, I mean, it's rock, and it's just a lot of labor. And my thought was, well, can we just seal up those edges where it's leaking and get by for 5 years while we plan for it? I mean, that might be an option. The contractor I talked to was obviously not in favor of that. He thought it was a waste of money, but we haven't gotten formal bids for that stuff, so. Or, you know, if they have to do a deeper dive, I kind of like the idea of if a Band-Aid's $10,000 and it gets us by for a few years, or $20,000 and it gets us by for 5 years while we can plan for it. I mean, depreciation on a roof, you still have to plan for that too, because you're gonna have that even if you spend, just call it $200,000 in the last 20 years, there's $10,000 of depreciation right there every year. So even if it lasts 5 years for 20 grand, you get $50,000 of value for 20,000. So I guess, what do you
Well,
need from us? Authorization to get more bids?
Just where to
or-
go, what do you wanna do? I mean, the only damage, the bigger damage issues is the sheetrock and all the windows. Leaks, we have leaks in well, upstairs in our conference
Yep.
table, so we strategically place buckets on our conference table.
You just redid that, dang it, huh?
Yeah. And then the leaks in the garage, but that's onto the concrete floor.
Not as big of a
Not
deal.
as big of a deal, so the only mitigation issues is in the sheetrock piece, so I mean, that's,
I suggest
Any
you
mold
get some
testing or
more
anything?
estimates.
what's that?
Any mold testing or anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be an issue.
And is
we
that,
have-
that's block walls right by, is it furred in behind?
Yeah, it's, if I remember right, it's it's wood frame
Yep.
with fiberglass and sheetrock.
It might be wise just to rip off the sheetrock so it can dry out, even though I know it's gonna be ugly. So it doesn't mold on you.
Yeah.
It's probably already,
It might already be, but then you
Probably
can,
already is, cause obviously there was moisture issues there, cause we did most of those windows when we had the construction done.
I suggest get some more estimates.
At least
I
on-
sent you a guy's number.
for sure on repairing the one side where you have the sheetrock, and if we can get that by for a year or two, or you know, kinda get an idea.
Council, it would be helpful to know if you want them to just kind of pursue repairs, because if we end up going out for, getting a full roof, we really probably should do some closed bids, because it's gonna
Right,
be
right.
getting up to that threshold. So you could do both, but I mean, do you lean one way or the other?
Well, the guy I sent you the number to, he'll tell you if you can patch it, get by. If you can't, you ain't gonna do it.
The one roofing contractor told me he probably wouldn't patch it, but
No, most of them will probably tell you
Both
that.
contractors said that were on the roof that it was virtually impossible to find it, like
Yep.
a needle in a haystack,
yep.
all the spots.
You probably end up paying more to patch it than you would be to replace it. But give that other guy a call and get an estimate on it and see what he says.
This sounds really redneck, but is there a way to, for the meantime, tarp that section so the water is diverted to the other side, like to a further away spot?
You
Well,
wanna
I
hear a
think
government thing
the
that's
pitch of the
redneck?
roof isn't steep enough to get it away fast enough, even if you tarp it,
So, okay,
right? That's the
fair.
issue.
The
Fair,
old PD building that the fire station's in, that was a flat roof. Go look at it. It ain't flat anymore. Because they built trusses out of steel and they built a pitched roof on it.
maybe we get a quote on that
Let's
too.
get that option too. I'm
That might be-
serious. I
that
mean,
might be
it
cheaper.
It might be, in the long run, a lot cheaper.
I mean, we can look and see if somebody on the repair side, and then the question is, will they warranty the repair to stop the leaking? That might be the bigger question too.
And maybe we get an estimate on, you know, with trusses and sheet metal, tin roof. I don't know, it'll probably be a similar number, if I were to
I'm
guess.
thinking it's gonna be similar too. It
And then
can't
you
be
get rid
too
of
much.
And then you don't have a flat roof issue in the future.
It Really can't be.
Are you planning on staying there long-term? Is this?
Me
gonna-
personally, or the police department as well?
He's got 5 years and 4 months, so.
Yeah, the police department's staying there for long term.
Well, then you might as well come up with a long-term solution.
Didn't we buy that with intentions till 2050?
Yeah, I mean, that's at least 2050.
Yeah,
So, a roof investment and not a flat roof would be wise to at
Minnesota
least
is not a
look
flat
into
roof
it.
country.
agreed.
So I think we should have the chief and Becker work together to
Yeah.
get some more information to see, is it possible to put a pitch roof up there, and make sure that we maybe talk to another contractor, maybe see if, what they think about repairs, and then report back.
You'd have storage too.
All right,
And the only thing is on the light issues, if
lighting.
there's
Yeah.
anything. If you wanna,
have you,
Have to
have
get
you,
more
have you
pricing
priced
on
out lights?
yeah, John.
Yeah.
I,
so
we don't
Meyer-
need, we don't need nearly as much light as they had in there, I'll tell you that much. That's way,
Okay, so Myron gave us some options. You can do a retrofit bulb.
yep,
That's 35-foot candle is $7,500. To go to an LED fixture with 70-foot candle was 21,000. And then to go to another
That
LED.
all the lights?
What's that?
That's for all the lights?
This is in the shop.
Yeah, all
Oh,
the
the
lights,
existing.
all
Yes.
100.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I'm thinking piece, and I'm like, screw that idea.
2
put light
million?
Candles.
Yeah. And then the 100-foot candle LEDs are 24,000.
so with the bypass ballast style lights, that's the first one that you would, that you
Yeah, they
mentioned?
basically put a LED bulb in a regular fixture like that.
Yep, and
What's
the,
there now?
and the ballasts do not have to work, they just bypass the ballast underneath, so he wires it, and how much was that?
$7,500.
Yeah, I mean, I think that seems like the more
I think
cost-effective
it's-
thing.
Right now, he needs lights. I think that's the best option to go, and if that,
You guys use flashlights right now?
That and candles.
Do you think it has to be done right now, or you guys just wanna have a plan for it?
I mean, the sooner, it's not so much, I mean, even during the daytime it's dark in there, but, yeah, I mean, we have to have a plan.
It's public safety
Relatively
money.
short.
Can you use the public safety money for that?
No, not on existing
thinking
buildings.
Oh, dang it.
I'm thinking the roof.
You can't use it on the public safety money on the roof
Keep
either,
mold out
can
of the
you?
building is public safety.
Keeping mold out of the building, that's a good sales pitch.
No, we can probably build a new one, I suppose, but.
So $7,500, and you said there's how many, 140?
This is, and I think it's actually for the ones that are out.
Not for the others?
Yeah, it's for everyone in there that's out.
And how many
you
are
don't
out?
need that many lights.
That's the,
No, you don't. But you could replace the ones that are out and then just let the
93.
others burn out.
yeah.
How many are burnt out?
There's 144 total, 93 are out, 51 work.
Wow.
If you were to flip roles and those 51 were out and the 93 were up and working, how do you think it'd be in there? Because what if we replaced
I
the,
think it would be twice as bright.
Yeah.
okay, they're not all strict, they're not all in one spot where it's like super inconvenient. I'm just thinking we pay to have it all fixed once
I
and then
mean,
the
we
rest
could-
just burn out and just leave them.
Or we can just leave the ones that are over illuminated as Sandy, because we don't go over there anyway.
That's fine, huh?
$52 a light, is my math right?
That's, I mean,
52, wait, times 114, let me see if I get back to that number.
more like $79 each.
So $7,500 divided by 114 lights,
96.
90,
93.
Or 93.
93. $80 a light. That just seems weird high.
No, it's because he has to go in and bypass the
And
the
it's
ballast inside, so you
very
gotta
high
take
up
it
in the
apart,
ceiling.
and it's high on every
got a
single
low
one.
lift,
Labor and the
though.
stuff,
Those
and then
ceilings are like 25 feet.
23 foot to the top of the
I know,
ceiling,
but-
or to the top of the roof.
But we have a low lift.
There's either 3 or
Yeah,
2 bulbs
Myron will
per
come in
unit,
with his lift.
Okay,
you know.
It's not a horrible price, I don't think.
I'd
And
say we go
LEDs
ahead
are gonna
and-
save us money.
I'd say
Right.
let's go ahead and put in replace the lights for $7,500.
Now, do you want all those replaced? What if it's like really, really bright? Like,
It'll be nice and safe when it's bright, yeah.
I'm thinking,
If
A
the
tanning
council
bed?
wants to maybe authorize up to 7,500, if the PD budget doesn't have the amount of money they allocated, this will come back to council, next council, to just authorize an unbudgeted expense. So it'll probably end up having to come back. I guess I don't know exactly what his budget's sitting at. Do you know? Travis,
What-
in like 400 or 404?
He's got $400 left in it.
but what if he has like $3,000? Could he use the 3,000, get some of those lights up before the
I don't know
next
if that's
council
cost
meeting?
effective to have the, I
Well,
think we
I'm
would
just
probably
saying,
bring it back.
they're in there with the little candle, walking around.
You can, do you think you'll survive 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
Okay.
He can get, if we know that this is going to likely be done, that's just a formality of our purchasing policy, we can at least get on Myron's schedule, so I'm sure he wouldn't be able to do it sooner
I'm-
than 2 weeks anyways.
I'm just worried that you're gonna put 93 bulbs in there that are LED and it's gonna be like, need
It'll keep
sunglasses.
night shift awake.
Yeah.
Well,
Is,
it's only the one he's putting in is 35-foot candles, so the ones, Myron did a lighting scope for the building, if that's what you call it, and they were recommending way more foot candles than that.
What's a foot candle?
Foot candle, how
It's
much light it
just how
puts off
bright
per
it is.
foot.
I think it's how many lumens per square foot in some calculation there.
Okay, well,
is there any risk to us doing this work now and the roofing contractor having to take it all down if we redo something with the roof?
It shouldn't affect anything on the roof.
Okay.
Because they're hanging off the bottom of the bar trusses, not up in the roof.
Okay.
Do you want to take a few minutes to talk about the staffing while Josh is here? Or you want to call it a night?
That's up to everybody else. I'm good with
Let's
talking
do
about
that
it.
and get done with it.
Okay, so what we have in the police, or the Public Works Department is a public services director, a utility manager, a foreman, a mechanic, and 5 maintenance technicians. We did, as you remember, had a resignation for our utility manager in April of this year. We did not fill that position. I wanted to leave it open until we had it solidified of what we were doing with our director position, which we did that this evening, which is fantastic. So in looking and discussing this with Josh and looking at the department needs and where we're going and trying to save money by bringing projects in-house more so than contracting out, it really becomes a time of how much people and time for resources that we have within the department. One thing that I'd like the council committee to consider is that instead of replacing the utility manager now, and Josh and I have thoroughly talked about the fact that between him and I and using engineering, we can get by without having that position filled until January of 2027. And then the position that was to be filled in January of 2027 was another maintenance technician, which is the 5 that we have now, 1 more of them, and we would hire that now instead. The difference in the cost is, if we weren't to hire that utility manager, for what we've saved already is approximately $55,000 to $60,000, because we haven't had it since April. Through the remainder of the year, if we were to hire a maintenance tech, anticipating a start date around October 1st and not having a utility manager, we'll save around an additional $10,000 this year. And then the difference for the year of 2026 would be about $35,000 to the benefit, or, to the lower. So, and then that utility manager would come back online in 2027.
I'm for it.
So I think the idea is great, and I'm gonna play the fiscal conservative here and say, I think it's been going pretty well over there. And I don't know that we necessarily have to hire another one at the moment. I would prefer, if we were to hire one, that we would wait until spring, just because with winter coming, I feel like there's maybe less going on, and now there's not as much Illuminate Iceni burden, but that's just my opinion. It's probably not gonna be a popular one, but I feel like we've done pretty well, and I'm really impressed with the team of guys we got. And I try and talk to them a lot when they're out, and they all seem pretty happy, and no one's complained about being overworked necessarily.
And I don't think that's what it is, but I have Josh doing 2 jobs.
Sure.
I'm picking up some of the job. I need to hand off the baton to Josh to do the director duties. I need him to pass off the foreman duties because he's doing both. So he's doing,
Okay.
let's just say, 2/3 of the director job. I'm doing 1/3 of the director job, which in that director job, we're also doing utility manager between the 2 of us.
Okay.
We've been making it work, but we can't. So what we need is, if he can do the director and the utility manager, then we pass on the stuff that he's been doing as foreman and helping the maintenance techs out, but in the water wastewater field, pass on the work to, it just is a trickle effect. But if we don't hire a maintenance tech, that's your prerogative, but then we're gonna need to hire that utility manager that we've been not filling.
Okay. I had to ask the questions.
if we hire the maintenance position, are we still able to make sure that our, we stay on the high usage properties and make sure they're trying to save as much water as possible. Are we still gonna be able to do that without a utility manager?
I think we are able to if we make sure that Josh is not doing any of the additional duties of helping out in other areas of the department, so then he can work on that, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I'd like to keep driving down the amount of water that we're using as a city. And if we can keep high volume users, try to keep them to bring down their usage, I think that's a huge benefit to the city and extending out some of our infrastructure.
I agree.
So if we can maintain that, I think that's huge.
I have mentioned that in my mayor's memo for this next Isanian, but, so that's important. I think that's a good perspective. Nick, George, what do you guys think?
I think we should get them.
I also think you gotta remember, we've had, past few years, we've had a pretty decent winter. We're gonna be due for a
Right.
bad winter.
You're right.
And those guys go out and are plowing snow.
But global warming, it's created less snow.
I got a question. Can we see if they're a part-time arborist too?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
To have that as a,
I was
Maybe some
thinking
tree
the same thing.
experience?
Well, we do have one of our people who is pretty skilled now, and he did go to some additional training a couple months ago, one of our Public Works guys. So I think his knowledge will just keep increasing. When it comes to cutting down trees, I think that that's going to be key.
Yeah.
Is that we keep up on training, make sure we want to take on that liability and all the other things that we need to consider. But yeah, I do think that if we have another person, we can do more in-house. It's not just about having enough person because these guys feel overworked. I haven't heard that from one person, because honestly, we don't have a group of people who are complaining. But I do think that if you want to be able to take on more, and especially in a timely fashion, I mean, it's nice to be able to say that we can do something, but it's not going to take us 7 years. I mean,
no, our
long
public
time,
works
you
is
know.
fast with stuff. Whenever there seems to be something, it's like, I'll text Josh and it seems like an hour, it's done. It's like, what the heck? That's insane, so.
But don't think
props-
that is
No, I
not
know,
pushing
but
something
I'm
else
saying,
around,
I'm saying credit to
but
you guys for that, yeah.
prioritizing.
We also had that whole woodland project to build this winter.
Right.
So we're gonna be busy.
Okay,
We're gonna build all the wood stuff and put it up, and anything I can build in the shop this winter, we will build.
okay.
And when did you say you wanted to fill the utility manager position?
2027, January,
27.
potentially.
Yep.
Can we add on there that, like, a benefit would be somebody that's trained in tree removal? Like, could that be a benefit to the job description? Or like or do you have to stick with what we have already? Or is that just something that you can keep in mind?
Because it's in the union, I'd have to double check if we can change the job description
Okay.
for the union. I'm not 100% because we just haven't done it in a long time. I'd have to just double check that. We could definitely ask it, have it as a question.
Right.
Or as like a preferred or something.
Sure,
in
yeah,
like
that's
our
what I mean, a
interviewing.
preferred, yep, a preferred type, not job description, just a preference, like a qualification.
Yeah, I mean, we do ask them a lot of different things of whether it's welding, fabrication, carpentry. I mean, we ask them, we can definitely add that into there too.
Josh, you would be involved with those, I assume, all those interviews?
Yes, and we can send, we got a good group of guys, and we can send guys to more trainings.
I think if they can learn as much about cutting trees down for the next 5 to 8 years, it would be a very good idea.
Always send guys to trainings.
Okay. Nick?
Josie made good arguments, and it seems pretty solid that it's the right path.
Okay. Well, that seems like a consensus.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alrighty, well, it's 10:30. Let's wrap this up. I don't think there's anything else super
There is-
pressing on here.
I make a
Nothing-
motion to
there's no
adjourn.
update on E10?
What's that?
There was no update on E10 at all?
No, nothing else I want to add.
I don't have final information. I still am working on it.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and we can pick up
Motion
this
to
other
adjourn.
stuff later. Motion by Councilmember Lundin, second by Councilmember Heatman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Thanks, Steve.